Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Final Show Films. I'm Sen, your executive producer, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. Particularly want to thank our $25 tier supporters over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms, those being Jeremy Alexander, Samantha Bates, and L, without whom we would do nearly as many of the things we do now. So thank you for your support over the years. And those of you that are watching live, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Exandria Rising. I am Sen, your game master for the evening, and I am joined this week by a group of people for whom there will be no dramatic events tonight. Leading off with Shawnee.
Hi, I'm Shawnee, or William, and I am playing Najka Flamehull, the orc craftsman, now that I can actually say what my class is.
Yes, we're all level 1 now. And Jack.
Hi, I'm Jack, and I will be playing the pre-calamity Aormaton bard Martin Victoria.
And Holly.
Sorry, I'm coming off that.
Oh, now I'm curious.
You like yeah, a little bit.
I'm Holly. I'm playing Davina, a Selkie folk, awakened mystic.
And Jeremy.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. I am playing Elefira Gilrit, who is a water genasi rogue.
And Drevian.
Drevian, I'm playing Tenebrous, a Gerbine Witch.
And Craig.
Did you say Gerbine Lich or Witch?
Witch.
I was like,
Witch.
dang, I didn't know we could start with like prestige classes.
I mean, Goblins just turned into an automaton. I think all options are on the table at this point.
Jeez, all right.
Gone 3 years as you've lichdom.
Cool. Well,
that's a level 20 class. That's a level 20 class feature for.
I'm playing Grouper, a Locantha primordial elemental, I guess. No, I'm playing Grouper, who is a Locantha druid.
Lichdom is the 20th level capstone ability for Necromancers, for the Necromancer class for Vault of Spire of Secrets from HM Press. So if anyone wants to be a Lich, then that's the class to take. But it's already too late because you're level 1 something else, so you'll never get there. Anyways.
BRB gonna go reconfigure my character.
It wouldn't be the first time I died in session at level 1. First session of being level 1, so.
It wouldn't be the 20th time I've done it.
How many characters have I killed at level 1?
It wouldn't have been the 20th time I've done it either, but that's because I need to do a first time.
As always, Black Lives Matter, trans rights are human rights. This stream is powered by Sirenscape, and there's just a whole litany of people that you can give a middle finger to as they are marching their way to the grave. I'm sure Jeremy has a few off the top of his head.
Vince McMahon, Diddy, Dream. I want to give a particularly happy day to Stephen Bannon as he is going to prison officially. He doesn't get to say no.
I mean, he gets to say no. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, he gets to say no as the door closes on him.
He can say the word no all he likes. He still has his freedom of speech.
There's
His freedom of not being in jail, however, has been rescinded.
There's nothing like waking up, looking at your phone, and the first thing you see is Judge orders Steve Bannon to report to prison on July 1st.
Anyway, that's very appropriate because that does begin the month of Queer Wrath. But anyways, happy Pride, everybody.
Yep.
Happy Pride.
We have a lot to celebrate. But we begin with returning to the island of Tuarticala in the Lucidian Ocean, where it sits at this sort of triangular stopping point for 3 different directions along ocean trade routes, as the ship taking Najka and Elefira away to their destiny passes beyond the horizon. over the course of the next few years, the rest of our young, hang on, that one, adventuresome crew eventually take their leave. In the following year, over the course of the following year, letters are exchanged back and forth. Grouper and Elefera, how does your correspondence go over the course of this year?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Craig can
Do
describe.
you want to
if you-
start?
Yeah, I and jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but to start, it is constant
Yes.
as a maritime town's postal service allow.
Right.
So
I think
like,
there is
once
that
every other month. You've got like 3 letters.
exactly. So I think there's that thing of getting them all at once, and then you'll have multiple letters just sort of going in sequence, and then one jumps back and refers to the last 3 months of the other person's correspondence all at once, and they speak back and forth.
I think, and saying if this is not possible, that's fine. Ella, being fairly well off, will put a fair amount of money into making sure, if by some magical means or something, they arrive more frequently, at least for the first couple of months.
Yeah, you can have them sent. You can have them delivered
Yeah.
magically rather than just by actual ship, which
Yes.
would mean that they would be a little bit more consistent in time.
Would Father Martin, or Brother Martin, allow that? Would he do sendings on the island side?
Father Martin can do sendings, not very often. He encourages writing rather than relying on magical means because he can only do 1 per day. And so that's a real long time to follow up.
There will be like a bunch of knocks at the church door at like 11:59.
There is a courier spell.
Brother Martin, did you use a sending today? You still got that one in the tank?
Yeah.
Because the sunset today was real pretty, and I'd like to let Ella know about it, please.
Let's write and his friends. Let's write
Fuck
down.
yes.
Let's write down your feelings in a letter. Cooper.
Well, okay, I have 5 of those, but I just thought we could send this one right now.
Yes.
We will see if we can get a courier bird off in the morning.
Okay, I'll be back this time tomorrow, so
And-
see you then.
Father Martin, ever patient. Not always giving you what you want, but always having the time to explain why.
And a minute to midnight.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah.
Even at a minute to midnight.
Yeah, even at a minute to midnight. He is a cleric of the Dawn Father, and that is being available for the people of your flock 24/7 is one of their tenets. So the letters come from Elefira. The letters come relatively frequently from others. Does Nazca sending letters back home at all?
Her letters come at first relatively frequently to her family. But I think over the course of several years going by, they come less frequently and from more varied locations. Mostly just whenever she could get a message back, and the contents of the message are more casual and surface level as time goes on, as she's just sort of sending, general greetings and updates of, yeah, I'm still around, I've been wandering, kind of updates later on. Less on the work she's doing and more on just her state of being.
So for the first few months of the first year, the letters come relatively consistently. And if I understand correctly, at a certain point, at least from Elefira, the letters just sort of drop off.
Yes. Like after about the first couple of months,
Mhm.
they drop off hard. There's like 1 letter a month for the 3 months after that. And then nothing for like until the end of the year.
Yeah, they are. They are. I think just as consistent going
Yep.
out from Grouper.
But
Just as consistent as they were
yeah,
for him previously, not just as consistent as the new speed that Ella is sending letters.
but the year goes by with a reduced number of people on the island. The Goblins, Grouper, Tenebris, Davina. At the end of the next year, roughly the same time, the ships come in. Who's leaving this year?
Davina's.
Davina? You have your goodbyes on the port. If you want to, if there's anything you want to say right now as we're narrating through this.
I think nothing in particular. She would invite Grouper to come with her. I'm assuming he would probably.
Grouper smiles and says, "No, I got a lot of work to do with Kervala and here at the dock and all that, and we need to stick around." And Tenebris keeps jumping off farther and farther off the dock and going deeper and deeper, so I need to stick around just in case we can't get him back. But I appreciate it, D. And listen, I'll look after your folks. You know I will.
I'll be back.
I know. You go ahead and write me. I got
Oh, I will.
I got the ship's brought in. And we were talking about letters been getting a little less frequent coming in from Ella, but I got one here, so I'm gonna save that and I'll read it, just to make sure everybody feels together after you go. So he kind of tucks it into his
Oh my
overalls.
gosh. I think I know what letter this is.
No, that letter
No,
hasn't
it's
arrived
not.
yet. The letter's
Oh, okay. Okay. I was afraid
Okay.
it was that letter.
Nope.
Okay.
Never mind. I was imagining things.
I mean, you
This
could
is,
still you could still have another letter that you haven't read yet. That's fine.
What's this about a warranty?
Every time I take a sip, Craig, come on.
One letter that seems unmarked. Groupers throws in the water because it's not from Elefira, and we just watch the camera, watches it unfurls, and it says, "Dear son," and it just dissolves in the water.
Oh my god.
Unlike Ella, Davina sends a ton of letters. Like every time the boat comes in, there's like 10 letters for Grouper.
uh,
I assume she's corresponding with her family too.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Grouper. She does correspond with the others, but it's like the most come in for Grouper and her parents.
Okay.
the day after Davina is out to sea,
You are a monster. You are an
Another-
absolute fucking monster.
one last letter comes in from Elefira Grouper.
Is Tenebris at the dock?
Yeah, probably.
Because at this point it's just us, right? Or the
Uh,
good goblins
The
are still
good
there
goblins
too.
are there too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
As we might be spending more time at the dock now too. Now that all her friends are spending all their time at the dock.
Fair. So yeah, so Grouper will get it in and kind of wait until it's I guess later in the later in the day, and he sits down. Flop is there with him. They're taking a little lunch break, and he gets out and he gives Flop some fish and sits down and opens the letter and just kind of stares at it for a bit. Holds it back up. Hey, Tenebris, you need anything? I feel like I saw something fall off that last ship to come through. I'm gonna go down and just double check, make sure we don't have any jetsam down there that needs bringing up.
Yeah, if stuff's falling off ships, it's good to retrieve that.
Okay.
Full insight.
Meeny Manny,
Sure.
please. Are all three of them down at the dock?
Um, just Gatsby this time.
Gatsby, how about you? You good? You wanna? Does Gatsby like anything from the bottom of the sea, like oysters or sea cucumber,
Pretty
pool-shaped rocks?
I'm pretty certain. Grouper's passive deception is higher than 2.
Yeah, no, we rolled really bad. The good goblins don't roll well.
Yeah. River's
Is that
actually
why
got
they're getting
decent
replaced?
charisma, so yeah. So yeah, he just seems like he's gonna go check that out.
Yeah, Grouper dives into the water, having just received a letter.
And
Is the letter going with him?
yeah, he tucks it into his overalls. He has a little waterproof fold on the oiled leather and tucks it in there. Goes in, lives up to her name, flops off the dock after him, and he goes down.
Just
And, yeah, and they're down for a while, and he comes back up, and if they'd still be there? No, I must have been imagining it. Well, I'm gonna go check with Caroline, see if there's anything she needs me to do the rest of the day.
if you're soaking wet from head to toe, they can't see the tears.
No.
And then just, I would imagine later in the day, soggy, crumpled, a letter washes up on shore.
But with some level of heartache and separation, another year passes. This year filled with letters from Davina, writing back and forth. Is there anything significant that you tell Davina in your correspondence, Grouper? And do you keep sending letters to Elafira, or do they stop?
The letters to Elafira stop.
Makes sense.
The
Davina
letters
does visit a lot.
So yeah, so I mean, letters to Davina continue. Yeah, they're full of all kinds of details about how the weather's been and how the harvest festival goes, and that time there was a big storm over the jungle, and how that reminded Grouper of the time that we were out there, and when he had to run a raft of things upriver to, can't remember the name of the town, but
Iorna?
Aorna, yeah. And yeah, so lots of letters going that way, and happy to see her back. I'll send letters occasionally to Nashka just to kind of check in, but she's got family there that she corresponds with, and I think it's more he checks in with Nashka's parents just say how she's doing and so on.
And Najka does, like, whenever she sends a letter to her family, it does include like a note or two for the rest of the friend group should they ask her parents about how she's doing or anything.
Yeah, and I think if they are the type to be willing to write and include messages like this, the letters back would generally indicate that Grouper says hello and
Oh yeah, absolutely.
wishes you luck, things like that.
Another year passes. Some connections having been lost, some connections going quieter as time and distance take their toll. Davina visits as often as she can, but it's a week to the nearest port, and factoring in the various other things that Davina is doing with her time, the visits eventually get fewer and fewer and farther between. And eventually, at the end of another year, who's leaving on this next ship?
Good goblins.
The good goblins at Tenebris. So, you all say your goodbyes to Grouper.
We're going to write you every week.
I know. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna write 3 times a week, one to each of you. So, it's gonna be great. I'll look after everything here. Father Martin, I know, is gonna be real lonely. without anybody cool to show off new inventions and so on. So I'll go by outside sometimes and just clank on some metal, so he doesn't miss that sound. Tenebris, docs aren't going to be the same without you.
I mean, I should hopefully be back relatively frequently,
Well, good. Well,
staying on ships and coming through.
I'll keep your little dry dock all in good order. I'll change the ropes out on a regular basis like we always do, keep them waxed and so forth, and make sure you taking your tools, you're leaving them, a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. So, some of them are mine, some of them were borrowed from other people, and I don't want them to go looking for them like 3 months and they're gone.
Yeah, that makes sense. Where I assume it wouldn't be a secret, and it wouldn't be something that group would be learning the first time. So where are Tenebris and the Good Goblins going when they leave?
The good goblins plan to travel. They don't have a
Tenebris,
set destination in mind as far as
Okay.
Tenebris is just like being a contracted shipwright. He's just going along on voyages to make sure the ship doesn't fall apart.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right.
Tenebris
Well,
is beginning his apprenticeship, basically.
anytime any of you are headed back through the aisles, I hope you say hi, but don't worry, things will be good. And we still got that 3 years out. We're all getting back together, right?
we'll be there.
Okay. I love you guys. You all look after yourselves, okay?
Gatsby offers you a hug.
Gruber will take it. Big hug back.
But then
Tenebris pats you on the shoulder, like the sort of thing like Father Martin you'd expect from Father Martin, except Tenebris is shorter than you, so he has to reach out.
Yeah. Not that much shorter, but yeah, a little bit for sure. And Gruber will return the pat if that's something that he would know that Tenebris is comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
all right. The last ship leaves out, taking the goblins and Tenebris with them, leaving Grouper alone on the docks. Pulling up a thing real quick because my memory sucks.
There was
How's-
one
Oh, go ahead.
letter to. I was just going to say there was after that there is one last letter to Elefina that goes out, but
Do you want to share what it is publicly, or is that just between you?
no,
and-
I'm going to send it to Jeremy.
Dope.
As you watch the last ship leave and the last of your friends leaving, Carvala sort of sits down next to you on the side of the dock. This regal is the best way to describe her, sea elf, that just sort of sits and watches the boat leave. How you feeling, Grouper?
I guess I knew it was coming, but I didn't think it was ever going to get here, you know? It's like, you know how some mornings you wake up and you can tell just through your skin that it's gonna be a big storm. You can smell it in the air, but it's sunny and bright and the skies are clear. And all day long you can feel it building, but everything looks normal. And he snaps. And then there are the clouds and it's raining all of a sudden. But you didn't bring in the stuff you left outside because you thought you had more time. And anyway, I'm going on. I'm sure you got a lot of stuff for me to get done this afternoon, right? He looks up, very clearly hopeful.
A distant peal of thunder, and the sky does actually, as you're talking, open up and begin to rain. Karala just sort of leans her head back and lets the rain pour over her face. One of the teachings of the Wild Mother is that you cannot control the world. You embrace it, you respect it, and you exist within it and in harmony with the changes. I understand that you're putting on a brave face, but you still have friends here with you. And the Wild Mother is always watching.
Yeah, I'll just. And he just kind of looks down at the water off the edge of the dock and says, I know everybody always says that there are other fish in the sea, right? I always thought I'd be the only one she'd ever need.
And she'll put a hand, just wrap an arm around your shoulder and pull you in for a hug.
He just leans into it. Flop leans into him from the other side.
You share a quiet moment before having to get back to work, as the day is still the day. Over the course of the
imagine
next year. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I imagine with the storm,
Yeah.
a lot of things need doing relatively
yeah.
quickly.
Yep. Over the next year, the letters that you had been receiving continue. I'm sure the good goblins keep sending letters. You still get
Every
an
week.
occasional one from Najka. Are Davina's letters still coming?
Davina, yes. And she still sends like 10 letters to him every single time.
But a year
They are.
passes. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the letters back from Grouper are increasingly, now that everybody else is gone, increasingly about the time he's spending with Kervala and the teachings that he's practicing and learning more about the weather and more about the water, not what it is to live in it, but to live with it. If that makes sense, just sort of those studies and as he's beginning his more formal druidic training.
And Kervala is not a proper druid, not a proper archdruid, but she is a cleric of the Wild Mother and will be taking sort of the lead on helping you find that connection. You find over the course of the next year that the teachings of the Wild Mother really require you to embrace finding this information for yourself and finding that harmony with nature and with your environment.
And a lot of it is very specifically like maritime industry focused because of the nature of the island. It is less, so a lot of it does have to do with safety of ships and sustainability of fishing and things like that, and making sure that that's maintained.
Tenebris, are there letters? How often are letters being sent back from you?
Tenebris sends a letter each time he makes a deport. Kind of like more postcard style letters, like we arrived here, the next destination is like, and like gives a brief, like if there was any inclemental weather.
Okay.
So
that's cool. So we could write to where you're headed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice.
Eventually, I believe this year, you would receive a letter from Tenebris saying that Tenebris was in Whitestone. I believe this would be the year that happens.
Yeah.
Sometime at that point.
Is there an indication that because we know that Najka was headed to Whitestone, right?
Yeah. By this point, would Najka also be in Whitestone?
Najka would have been in Whitestone like by the first year.
Yeah.
Right.
So at a certain point, you would begin receiving updates from Tenebris and Najka about the two of them being in the same area. Najka and Tenebris, the two of you most likely would have run into each other in Whitestone. We'll cut away from the island just for a moment. what do you think your interactions there would have been like?
From Tenebra's side, it's like he's here for the culture of crafting in Whitestone, and definitely would be like, oh, this is what I've been learning with carpentry, and like, what have you been up to?
Yeah. So probably the thing that you learn when you come to Whitestone is that there is a workshop set up that Nashka operates that is set up quite literally like within a couple of minutes walk of the barracks of Whitestone's militia. Because as you learn, one of the many jobs that Nashka has picked up in Whitestone is maintaining the weaponry and armor of the Whitestone Rifle Corps and the militia therein. So there is the constant sound of a craftsman at work whenever you come by. If she's in the workshop, there is the sound of her at work. She's always happy to take a few minutes to talk whenever you come by. But she has definitely fallen into a steady line of work. Oddly enough, sometimes she's not at the workshop and there's a different person standing in for her. No one ever really is able to clearly specify where she's gone when she's off like that.
But yeah, you would learn about the Pale Guard and the Whitestone Rifle Corps, the two sort of primary public-facing defense forces of Whitestone. You'd find that in Whitestone there's a big the crafting in Whitestone largely revolves around complex aspects of various other technologies. They make a lot of parts for airship development here. Airships might not be fully put together in Whitestone, but a lot of the things that help them to function and fly and exist are manufactured here. As a carpenter,
there's that big emphasis on fine machine work and clockwork.
As a carpenter, you would learn things about the systems that hold all these intricate bits of technology together, the housing for the clockwork devices, or the bows for the bows
Holes.
the specific part of the hull for the airship. And
the curved bits that I can never remember the name of that like frame the hull.
Yeah, the spine, for lack of a better term, the bones of the airship, how those have to be very carefully designed to support the added functionality of the airship.
Get those air bones.
Yeah. And so, Grouper, back on the island, you'd receive some updates regarding this and that from Tenebris and Najka. What sort of updates would Grouper be getting from the Good Goblins, Jack?
Gatsby writes almost all of them. At one point,
they're literally called ribs.
Sorry.
You get one from Meanie Manny, who seems to think that Gatsby does a better job of writing them, and he should not be the one in charge of it. You get descriptions of places that they're traveling through, things they've seen. And there's one dated for every week, even if they arrive in a batch of 4. She keeps you updated as often as she can of where you could reply, where you could send letters to. This is where we're going next. We'll pick some up.
And at a certain point,
Well, hey.
Oh, go ahead.
Pretty much everyone ends with let Father Martin know we're all right, and say hi to everyone else for us.
And Grouper always does. Grouper always passes that along. And also, he continues to write 3 letters each week, 1 to each of the good goblins. And unless there is a major event that's happened on the island, the 3 letters each contain different things, which is, I don't know if the good goblins would sort of read him this well, but the intent is so that they have something to talk about amongst themselves after the letters.
That's adorable.
At a certain point, Grouper, you would notice that a lot of the return addresses begin to center around Kymel.
At that point, the contents of the letters start being gossip around Kymel.
Okay.
Anything, political stuff that's happening that is of interest. A friend or two they made. Lots of rumors. Gesby seems to like listening to rumors.
Gesby's letters will start including more local rumors from back on the island at that point. What would I know about Kymel?
Make me a history check.
Okay. I also, as a player, don't
Mhm.
really know much about Kymel. Everything is frozen.
Oh no.
Um,
Everything is frozen.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything is great when your computer's crashing.
Can I just roll physically?
Sure.
Oh God, it went through my paint. And that is a 2 on the die. So even with my +3, that is a 5.
All right. You know that Kymel is sort of located centrally in Tal'Dorei. It's in the Dividing Plains. It is a sort of a hub area of the northern portion of Tal'Dorei. It's a relatively small city comparative. Like it's big compared to Skrios or anything on the island, obviously, but it's on the smaller side for being a sort of center of trade. Not you don't know much else about it specifically there, anyways. Just that it's relatively central, so you could get to basically almost anywhere from Kymel in Tal'Dorei.
Okay. Then I think a lot of the letters back, once that becomes clear, are he's asking more about Kymel, and just to. It seems like they enjoy talking about it, so he'll ask them more about it.
At a certain point, the letters from both Davina and Tenebris would stop.
Come on, guys.
Would that be this year or next year for the two? Do you think?
I think it's this year. It's 2 years before our meetup date for her. It's not just him, her parents as well are not receiving letters
Oh
from her.
God, why are you guys doing this to me?
So yeah, towards the end of go ahead, Tenebris or Trevin.
Tenebris's would stop like a year and a couple of months before the reunion.
Yeah. So towards the end of the year, Davina's letters would stop abruptly. No indication as to
no indication why. Not like I'm going to study.
Like she was expecting to.
No.
Okay.
No indication that they were expected to stop. Just that they have. And then
that the grouper definitely counts as an emergency to ask Father Martin. I don't know if he would consider it one.
He would suggest he would ask. He would basically want you to explain why you feel like this is an emergency, and then, if given a sufficient explanation, you don't have to roll for it. He would try to do a sending to Davina.
He just Gruber says, "Hold on," and like picks up the sea trunk full of letters just marked Davina and just like bonk.
Yeah,
that's right.
So he would send. He would cast sending, and you would hear him deliver a query about concern for well-being given sudden abruptness of letters stopping. And after a few moments, he would reply to you. Well, it seems that she seems to have been caught up in something relatively important and is unable to find the time to write. Asked us not to worry about her.
But she's okay, right?
Make me an insight check. If the dice will roll ever again.
No, I know what my insight is. That is a 17. It's
Okay. Do you
roll 20 is still not loading, but
just
at least
refresh roll 20 or something? Yeah.
I've tried a couple times. We'll keep seeing. But that's a 17 for insight.
17. So yeah, with 17, there. It seems Father Martin is trying to parse something. There's something about the way he received the response to that message that he doesn't quite understand.
Father Martin,
Yes.
Can you tell me what's wrong? I'm not a guppy anymore.
I'm not certain is the problem. The spell sending has a few guarantees to it. You're not going to misdirect a sending spell. It's not going to find the wrong target or be intercepted. So long as they are alive and not being blocked by magics and on the same plane of existence as you, the spell will work. It's not good at translating... It's not good at translating body language or anything like that. The subtle cues that one gives when having communication that something might be wrong, but there's something about Davina's word choice, the word choices being used, that didn't quite feel correct, and I'm not certain if it's just I'm an old man and I'm reading too much into it, or if she's grown up a lot more since she left than I had expected, or...
You've known all of us since we were kids, but I mean, I used to talk to Davina every day, and we've been writing that. What exactly did she say? Maybe I could help.
He'll relay. Go ahead and give me an insight check, another insight check, as he relays the wording. I'm not going to make up the wording right now, but he relays the wording.
Okay.
Hey, it worked that time.
Hey, okay.
We'll go with the 24.
24. Yeah.
With 24 from the wording, you're sort of getting what the issue that he was having with it, because at the same time this sounds like how Davina talks, but it doesn't sound like Davina talking, if that makes sense. It sounds like somebody that has an intimate understanding of Davina's particular syntax and word choice, but not Davina's intentionality when she talks. There's just a particular usage of phrase. Pulling away from the game, kind of like how I use overly complicated words to describe things that I could probably use much simpler words for. If I were suddenly to start using much simpler words to say the things that I try to say all the time, it would still sound like me talking, but it would sound like not me talking at the same time. That's kind of what you're getting from this message, and it could just be the limitations of sending. Sending is a limited word count, but it definitely you're sort of seeing the puzzlement that Father Martin is getting, where it's like this doesn't, something intangible about it feels off.
Do I know enough about sending to know that it's tough to get a wrong number?
Yeah. Both from your own understanding of magic and also what Father Martin explained to you earlier. Yeah, no, like the way sending works, that had to have been Davina.
Okay.
Otherwise, the spell would have failed.
I mean, I can see why you were worried, but it's probably just that limited word count thing. You know how sometimes people on sending, even if they usually would use other words, sometimes they'll use like an ampersand instead of a full word, or they'll use something, or maybe they shorten stuff and use abbreviations that they wouldn't. So that's probably all it is.
I hope that's correct, Gruba. It just feels off is all. It's possible that I'm simply an old man too used to the vagaries of my former life.
Well, this sending generation we interact and communicate differently. So, but it's gonna be fine. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. He will pat Father Martin on the knee, and then just like motor to Kervala to try to find her.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm so very excited for what I consider to be the likelihood of, okay, I'm going to say things not in the way that I say it, so that Grouper's going to know there's something very, very wrong. I'm in prison or a magical jail somewhere.
Well, that's he just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to worry
Right.
about Martin. But
for sure.
Where was the last place that he knew that Davina was?
The last place that you knew Davina was, but from her letters, would have been. You would have heard about her being somewhere on the Lucidian coastline, which is the coastline of the basically the ocean that the island and Taldore share. Basically across the ocean is the Lucidian coastline. So she was somewhere along the coastline from the last letter you received.
Okay, so he'll go find Kervala and fill her in on everything from that sending.
Okay.
Does she have any insight or suggestions?
Let me make a roll for her real quick. You get the sense from her that she's not sure. She definitely can see what you're talking about, but Kervala is not someone that's used to the intricacies of society and civilization and the way people behave when they are a part of a society. She is very much a warden of nature, and thus getting to the parsing the intricacies of somebody's behavior changing suddenly, all she can do is associate it with animals, which is animals will behave differently if it's a means for survival. So if she's suddenly behaving differently, then for some reason that different behavior is possibly necessary for whatever it is that she's doing. Not that helps much, but that's as much as Carol can really read into it. With a 9 on her dice roll.
Kervala, I'm real sorry, but I think I gotta give you my 2 weeks notice.
Are you going to swim all the way to Taldore?
It kind of stops, and like even as worried as he is, kind of gives her like a side. He's like, "Come on, I mean, we both know I could, but
actually,
No,
you know it's a week's journey. It's a week's journey from Skrios to the nearest port on Taldore, by boat, by ship.
yeah."
I mean, he's an aquatic creature. He would just
Yeah.
need to like fish for food on the way.
Certainly, there's nothing that lives in the depths of the ocean that could eat
Why you don't
grouper
go
whole.
that deep?
We're not saying that he'll survive. We're saying that it is possible.
Fair. It's
There's,
possible.
I mean, there's okay. Let's be fair. This is a fantasy world. There's stuff everywhere that eats you. Your bed could be a mimic. Like
Your house could be a mimic.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's not planning to Lord of the Squids his way there. You know, swimming through fantastic underwater scenery. New Zealand, but he got Jeremy at least. That was the goal. But yeah, I mean, so when is the next ship?
In about 6 months.
Oh god damn it.
Ship
Good
travel
for
is
Do it!
Ship travel is slow.
I am here sitting back and doing nothing for the next like 7 episodes, and it just follows Grouper.
No, I know.
Everyone else gets back.
I'm here for it. I am 100% on board.
That's legitimately the issue. Is I feel like in character he would have so much trouble waiting, but I also don't want to just hijack this entire
Don't
campaign.
worry, I've got a reason for you not to leave in a minute. So
please give it to me.
As you sort of spend the next few weeks and such trying to plan how to effect an escape from the island and get to the Lucidian coastline and search up and down it for any sign of Davina, you realize that Tenebrus's regular letters have also stopped.
Oh god. Okay. I'm gonna Grouper stops his like marathon training with Flop. They've been doing underwater like conch to 5K style prep. And okay, so where is Tenebrus is in White Rock, right?
So the last
Whitestone.
letter that you had received from Tenebrus was indicating that they had left Whitestone and were yet again working as a ship's right, heading out on along the trade routes, and that they might be stopping in sometime soon. And the time frame for stopping in has long since passed, and you have stopped receiving any notifications.
And we were to be the next stop. Is that correct?
Not necessarily the next stop, but you're familiar enough with how Tenebrus's shipping schedules have been working that you would expect if Tenebrus indicated that they would be stopping in soon, then they would have arrived by now.
Okay, but I mean, there isn't a port that we missed along the way, right?
No, following that up with Carvala or the Dockmaster, you do learn that there is a ship that was expected to make port that is missing, that has not made port yet.
Where was that coming from?
She looks she checks the records and looks like it was coming south from sort of the northern end of the Lucidian coast, Taldori, following the trade routes south, and it should have arrived to stop for resupply. It should indicate if most likely if a ship that size of that scale hasn't stopped in for resupply, then either they've been assailed by pirates and their cargo and the ship either hijacked or sunk, or something's happened and it has sunk or crashed or run aground.
And how far of a journey is that?
The journey based on what you're saying here, that would have been about it's about a 3-week journey, that particular route from where you last received a letter from to here. Would have been about 3 weeks, and that would be like reaching the end of their available supplies functionally.
Do I have my first level spells yet?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to ask Carvala if she can start asking seabirds or schools of fish that follow the currents or anything coming from that direction, if they've seen storms or anything go down.
I can ask, but it's a large ocean, Grouper.
No, that's what I'm worried about.
I'll see what I can find out.
Okay.
We get to the meeting and we find out that Davina hasn't responded because she's been a thrall in a mind flayer colony for the past 2 years.
Hi, everybody. Some things have changed. I hope I don't look too bad.
Davina, I love what you've done with your face.
Um,
Turns from a seal into a squid.
No, see,
Okay.
if you're a thrall, you don't
Single
always
foot
undergo
squid.
ceramorphosis because they always need bodies to do grunt work.
You're a kid now. You're a squid now.
does the
And
letter
potentially a snack.
so
Yeah.
over the course of this next year, yeah, you've lost contact with Tenebris, with Elefira, with Davina. How's contact from Najka and the Good Goblins going?
Every week, without fail.
As mentioned previously, Najka's contact gets less frequent and more surface level. Like she goes into less detail about what work she's been doing and more about just like she's been traveling. Work is keeping her busy. Just keeping general status updates. But other than that, it still comes, but is less frequent.
Grouper will write to the Good Goblins and to Nashka about not about Elefina, but about the others, about the lost ship, and about the oddness of Davina's last contact. He will also have a little hesitancy in bringing that up to Davina's parents, but honestly, that's probably about an afternoon of him debating and realizing, look, that's not his decision to make, to try to remove worry from other people, and he does eventually go and share it with her parents because he feels like they should know.
The good goblins start adding to the closure. Tell Father Martin I'm okay. Has there been any word from Davina or Tenebris?
Yeah, and for his part, Grouper is asking the four of them to keep an eye out for the others.
Najka doesn't send any additional information in her letters from regarding that, but you, based on what you know of Najka, she wouldn't write anything about it unless she had news to share.
That's fair. Okay. That was the most dramatic sting on that reveal.
It really was.
I'm starting to think it's Najka we need to worry about.
Like you would only hear anything about that from Najka in one of her letters if she was like, I have found them, or I have a lead and I'm following it, or something like that, which you probably don't hear because she's probably not in a position to get in on that.
That's fair. That's fair.
But the months pass with no word, no sighting, no information. And eventually, that 5-year mark is coming up, Grouper. You're expecting the first ships to start arriving within the week.
And these would be the first ships since the Tenebris was due, correct?
No, there have been ships since then.
Okay.
This is the first ships for like sort of the fall trading rush of the 5th year. So when everybody should be coming back.
Okay. So it's been like a year and a half then since
yeah.
contacting the others. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect sequence as we all show up in reverse order from when we left.
The two that stopped. So one of the people that stopped messaging suddenly shows up.
Yeah, the first one to show up is one of the people who stopped messaging.
I know who the first person to show up is, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's about a week before the first ships are scheduled to arrive. Grouper.
Grouper is packed to leave.
All right.
If nobody shows up.
The first day of a ship arriving is a little early. A ship is getting here a bit ahead of schedule. And as it's coming in, you're down at the docks with Carvala, getting ready to welcome, along with some other dock workers, ready to welcome in. And you make me a perception check for Grouper. And at this point, you do have your level. You are level 1. So at this point,
Okay.
at this point, everyone is officially level 1. With a 20,
Dirty.
yeah, with a 20, you hear. So the primary method of communication for ships coming into dock are bells. They're shipboard bells that you're ringing out to make sure that the port's aware that you're here, to make sure that there's not another ship in the way. It's a little foggy out right now, so it's also just to make sure that you're not going to run into anything or anyone. And you hear the intonation of the ship bell indicating that they're coming into port. And then you hear the bell continue to intone and sort of a rapid alert sound that you recognize as medical attention is needed as soon as they hit port.
He looks over to Caravala and says, I'll swim out to him. I can start what you show me with the Wild Mother. I think I can maybe at least start helping. Is that okay?
Yeah, go out to them. I'm gonna send a runner for Father Martin.
Okay. Flop can go get Father Martin.
Yeah, that'll work.
Flop. Okay, girl, you go to Father Martin. Make sure he comes back. Okay. Bark at him until he pays attention to you. I know you know how to do it. You do it every time I have a sandwich. Okay, go. And he will take off his big floppy hat, toss it down, and dive into the water and start swimming.
Yep, you start swimming. It doesn't take you very long to get to the ship. Clamber up the side, and the crew recognizes you. This is a crew that comes. This is a supply ship. They're a bit earlier than normal, but you recognize the people that work the ship every year. And you find that they had discovered a stowaway in their cargo hold. Sorry, rephrase. They had discovered somebody floating in the ocean, like a castaway on the way here, and had basically double timed it to get to the island because they were fully non-responsive. And they take you to see the castaway, and laying on a cot, looking fairly feverish. Holly, describe what Davina looks like right now.
She's always pale, but she is white as a sheet right now. All of her hair is cut off. She has like a very short, unkempt pixie cut. She has bruising all over her body and scarring on her upper torso, arms, and face.
Also quite a lot on the legs and then further down as well.
Okay, yeah. And she's just wearing this black tattered thing with bandages wrapped around her.
It seems like mostly what she's wearing are bandages that are just bloody and soaked bandages, and a tattered black robe that is no longer in one piece.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper shoves anybody who else is there side and runs over and sort of slides down on his knees and wraps his webbed arms around her, immediately casting Cure Wounds as his gills and the webbing between his fingers and toes start to glow with sort of a blue-green bioluminescence. And if she's cognizant of her physical sensations at all, she would feel... you tell me if not.
Keep going.
I won't describe she would feel that sensation of sort of peaceful weightlessness that you get when you are in a calm, perfectly buoyant body of water.
So
like being weighed up by it.
Yeah, you cast the healing spell. You can tell from your magic that it's not healing any wounds. There are no injuries here right now. At least not that could be healed by Cure Wounds. You're getting the sense that this is exhaustion. Mechanically, Davina is currently at 5 levels of exhaustion and is just
Okay.
passed out. Non-responsive. This is someone who you can tell she's emaciated. She has not been eating enough. She's not been receiving enough nutrition. She has been very heavily, severely scarred and maybe tortured. Looking at where some of these scar marks are, this is the barest shadow of the Davina you knew before she left.
Can you hear me? You just kind of will pick her up gently a little bit.
No response. With an 8, you're not certain what needs to be done, but Father Martin would probably know.
I think not knowing anything else, he's sitting there holding her and will kind of run a hand over her shaped head and turn and call for blankets or anything soft, sailcloth, anything.
Oh yeah, no. There are there are blankets available. She's been in blankets. This is just what she looks like when you pull the blankets back.
And if I'm understanding the haircut correctly, it's not that she's completely shaved bald, it's that her long hair has been basically shorn down to a pixie cut.
It's
Okay.
yeah, but it doesn't look like really intentionally well kept one.
Yeah, this was not
Yeah.
a. This was not. This was
It's
not.
like someone went at it with a knife rather than actually giving her a
Yeah.
haircut.
Yeah, this was somebody shore a sheep rather than cutting hair.
Yeah. So he just will sort of brush that back.
Natalie Portman V for Vendetta style.
Give me an investigation check, Gerber.
No. 18.
With an 18, you notice in the hairline, it's would be because she started to grow back some of the baseline fuzz on the sides of her head. You notice that just behind one ear, basically hidden in the hairline, is a small tattoo. That just it's just like Roman numeral 13.
Does that mean anything to me?
It's the number 13. That's all you know.
But not the location or anything.
No,
like that.
it being here. Like you can make a insider history check. One of the two. I'll give you different information.
Has she grown a tail that is constantly on fire?
No, that would be 7. Oh
It's-
no, that was 13. Yeah, that was 13. Never mind.
It's not as high as my insight, but I think Gruber would be trying to remember.
Sure.
If that reminds him of anything, which feels like history to me. So
yeah.
Nah, just a 10.
With a 10, I mean, it's a marking of some kind. Somebody intentionally put this here. You doubt it was Davina. This isn't something that's meant to be seen regularly. This is something it seems almost like catalog.
Okay. Do I remember, given that Gruber spent a lot of time with Davina's family, do I remember any songs that Davina's parents would sing to her / us when we were little?
Very probably, yeah.
Okay. Gruber will just start singing one of those and holding her as we sail into port.
And as the ship comes into port with the first of your missing friends returning home for the 5-year reunion, that's where we're going to go on our break. So those of you that are watching live, please remember when we take our break, you take yours. So stand up, stretch your legs, move around, do whatever you need to do. Grab a drink, grab some food, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. And we're back. A dinosaur story. So, the ship pulls into dock, and Davina's unconscious form is, through the help of several people, because you can't do it on your own, grouper, because you are a small fish.
Indeed.
Davina is lifted and carried off the ship, hustled to the Church of the Dawn Father, where Father Martin begins tending to Davina, sending a message off to Davina's parents, letting them know she's back, her condition, come see her, etc. And he just immediately begins going into caretaking mode.
I was going to say I would also make sure that that message goes, but if he's got it,
oh yeah,
send somebody from the docks as a runner or something. But
yeah. They are informed. And yeah, Davina, make me a medicine check, grouper.
that's ooh, 25.
With 25, you notice a few things. One, you notice that Davina is not breathing, but is not dead.
In the way in which it indicates that there is a separate method of respiration happening, or
something. It seems that something is preventing her need to breathe, because she's alive and healthy, as healthy as one can be after hitting 5 levels of exhaustion after trying to swim to an island, and apparently being starved for who knows how long. But yeah, no, she's not showing any signs of, other than being emaciated, she's not showing any signs of being starved medically. Like none of the things that you would expect to see from a person who is actively in starvation mode are you seeing. And she's not showing any signs of suffocating, even though she's not breathing.
Thanks, son.
Father Martin has also picked up on this, which is why he's sort of like, he seems to be doing palliative care as far as the exhaustion is concerned, and is trying to puzzle out what's going on more specifically with the rest of it.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Not without the aid of magical devices, that I do not see currently whizzing about her skull. There are devices. The Knowing Mother has enchanted items called iron stones that can provide similar effects, but there's not one here. They're very obvious. They're hard to miss.
Can you check to see if there are any active magical effects? I can do it tomorrow, but I didn't think I was going to.
I have been. Yes, and no, there's nothing magical is occurring right now, as far as I can tell. Although obviously something magical is occurring, it's just not registering as magical.
Could that mean it's divine?
Divine magics tend to my own magics are divine, as are yours after a certain degree.
I'm sorry, that wasn't in character. I know my grouper speaking voice is very similar to mine, so it's easy to confuse them. But
fair. No, like divine magic and arcane magic both show up as magic.
Okay.
When you use detect magic.
Got it.
You can give me an Arcana check with disadvantage.
Yeah, I think that one's gonna fly. Although, hey, for once I don't have a negative in my intelligence.
Hey.
I might as well though. That's a 3.
But 3, yeah, no, you're racking your brain, and you can think of magics that could do things like this, but not that don't show up as magic. You can't think of any magics that don't register as magic, except for like high level like enchantment or illusion things that can make themselves read as non-magical. But you're not certain why that would be applied to somebody who is half dead from trying to swim too far.
Yeah. Okay.
But Davina has returned. Davina will be asleep for about 5 days. Davina is not the only person to arrive in those 5 days. While being looked over and tended to and cared for by Father Martin and her parents and you and anybody else that stops in. The next day, you hear, wherever you are at this point in time, you hear, actually, what this one? You hear the telltale sound of a bell ringing as a ship is coming into port. Oh, that's
Is
the
this
same.
one also an alert?
No, this one's just arriving at port.
I will check to make sure that Davina has what she needs and is being actively looked after, and then I'll head down to see what this one is.
All right. Another supply ship coming in, standing at the prow of the ship, sort of looking out at the shoreline coming in. You see 2 individuals that do not look like they are sailors. One is a hard to gauge exactly size, but slightly about average height human male looks like. Bright red hair, veering towards orange. Relatively long shoulder length, pulled back into a half up, half down hairstyle. Thick bushy eyebrows, relatively thick beard. Wearing ornate, well polished silver and gold armor that is light but not appears to be light but in fact is actually heavy armor. He just wears it real well. With what looks almost like a twin-tailed cloak or scarf sort of fluttering in the wind, and holding a large maul just sort of on his shoulder, looking out at the town. And standing next to him, Shawnee, please describe who is standing next to him.
The figure standing next to this person is clad in heavy black, like blackened armor. There's almost as if firelight emerging from inside the plates. There's like this soft, warm glow emerging from different what look like venting holes throughout the armor. They wear a completely face concealing black helmet. The rims of the armor where the seams would have been forged almost appear to be glowing as if red hot. The chain that connects the arm, the torso to the gloves is blackened as if scorched. And the gauntlets that they're wearing have like heavy industrial leather, but the metal plating on the back similarly is sort of blackened and seems to glow with heat. There is a blacksmith's waistcloth around the waist that sort of covers up as where the folds of traditional knight's armor would be, and the left pauldron is styled in the face of a wolf. The right, more traditional like slice armor with the sort of like bladed adjustment to it, trimmed in gold, with a long blue coat that sort of is sleeveless and seems to rest on this armor that looks like it's almost on fire without seeming to burn. So there's clearly something going on with the armor. But it is this deep, like royal blue with this gold trim to it, with this like
seemingly backpack that looks advanced. It has like sort of steam pipes emerging from it. And then there are there are two weapons that seem to be on their person that are visible to most. There is what looks to be like a great axe, slightly shorter staff than you might expect, at least seeing it from a distance. And then there is also slung around the back of the waist a large warhammer made of similar blackened metal to the armor this individual is wearing. But again, face is concealed by this full helmet.
Are any of the weapons the ones that she used while on the island?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 5 years, you might still recognize Gobond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You would recognize Goban.
Grouper will sort of see that, and I would imagine from far out still, but there's kind of a tentative hand raised from the dock. You can see standing there in rather direct contrast, wearing what seems to be the exact same yellow-hued oiled leather coveralls and floppy sun hat is Grouper.
You wave at this armored figure, and they just sort of like raise a gauntleted hand in that sort of like 2-finger wave.
Yeah, the redhead will actually point it out and wave.
Yeah.
Would it be appropriate to swim out?
Not in this case. No, I mean you could if
Okay.
you wanted to, but
I mean, it wouldn't be like a huge breach of protocol, right?
no. But there's no emergency, so typically you just wait until they got here.
Yeah, but there's stuff to tell, so I think Grouper will swim out to the ship.
Yeah. So you swim out, climb up the ladder. You are greeted by these two individuals. The red-haired one speaks up first. Hello there, little one. You're going to be Grouper, I think, aren't you?
Do I have any indication of who this might be from the letters?
Probably not. She probably hasn't shared much detail about this person.
Okay. Grouper says, yeah, that's me. Nashka, is that you?
And yeah, the armored figure sort of reaches up with both hands and pulls off the helmet. And yeah, you see underneath jaw looking significantly more strong and square than the last time that you saw her. And again, she's gained like half a foot as well of height since the last time she was visible, and put on, I want to say, over 100 pounds of muscle.
Okay.
But that sort of bright emerald green skin, the black lipstick that she still wears, and that sort of dark like crimson red hair. The previous like long braided hairstyle has been shorn mostly, and she's now got a very short cropped haircut with like one long red swoop to the right. But she takes off the armor. The thing that stands out most differently to you is you can faintly see ever so often like firelight under her skin, as if there is literally fire in her veins that seems to peek through the skin occasionally. And like her eyes that are normally this sort of brilliant red occasionally like gleam orange for a moment as she sort of pulls the helmet off. It's good to see you again, Grouper. It's been a while.
It's good to see you. Sorry to greet you with bad news right off the jump, but we found Davina. It's not good. She picked up by a ship. She's at the temple.
She immediately like walks over to the rim of the boat and looks how far is it from dock.
You would fall into the ocean and drown.
It's what I figured. She's trying to gauge how long it's going to be.
Few minutes.
And Grouper will fill as they pass the rest of the time in the fact that he's not ignoring, but not really, introducing himself, finding out more about the other person is, if that's the kind of thing that Notchka pays attention to, pretty uncharacteristic for Grouper.
Yeah,
largely a very friendly person. And we'll just
she gets the reason why this is important.
Yeah, and we'll instead fill them in basically on everything that you've heard out of character, so you know it in character.
Yeah. And he had when he had started talking to you, he had knelt down so he could be on eye level with you. And then once it was very obvious that introductions were not on the table, he just stood back up and stepped next to Najka, who could take the lead in this conversation. So
She sort of listens to the introduction, and it seems to be like impatiently waiting for the ship to get close enough to dock for, you assume, for her to leap off of it and start running.
a hand just sort of like reaches up and puts on your from below, and is a hand on your shoulder. Najka, you're going to break the dock if you try to disembark any faster than you should. Sounds like you've already got a medicine man taking care of the situation. So breaking infrastructure's not gonna help. Not gonna help anything.
I know you're right. It doesn't make it any easier.
No, it's not going to be. But Dawnfather tests us in many different ways, and this is one of them. Because you don't want to be the damn fool that broke through the dock and drowned trying to get to your friend.
Stop being right all the time, Fyron.
When I'm wrong, I'll let you know.
Cooper's paying a little bit more attention to this exchange. He goes, you're firing?
Yes, it'll kneel back down. So again, he's on eye level with you. Firen Artorian.
Altorian.
Sorry, Altorian. I said Artorian.
Yeah.
Altorian. I just had the word. Firen Altorian. Night Vigilant to the Dawnfather.
Does that mean you might be able to help? I tried knitting runes, but it's not runes. She's at the end of her resources. She just doesn't have anything left. We're just trying to let her rest. But do you think you might be able to help?
I could take a look at it at the very least.
Thanks. Sorry to meet you at a time like this.
Not to worry at all. Nothing to apologize for. He says he'll just offer you a hand to shake.
He will distractedly return the gesture. Is that something that's common here on the island? Handshakes?
Handshakes? Not no more or less common than is anywhere else.
Okay, all right. Then yeah, he will distractedly return the gesture and then say, "Did you hear anything about Tenebris? Any word
I
there?"
can't say that I have. He disappeared from Whitestone about a year ago. Didn't hear much from him afterwards.
Well, and you know, it seems like maybe his ship went down.
Well, if nothing else, I don't think a shipwreck's going to stop Tenebris.
There are lots of little islands dotting all over the Steed Ocean. I'm sure if a ship went down, probably made landfall pretty easily.
Grouper actually another really dramatic sting. Grouper actually sort of half smiles at that, at the comment about the shipwreck not stopping Tenebris, and then says, "I mean, unless he decided to stick around and not leave until it was fixed, right?"
That would explain why he would take so long.
At this
On
point,
one hand, I kind of hope that's it.
you hear the sound of ropes slapping up onto the dock and being tied in, or up onto the ship and being tied in, as the ship is being tied into the dock. And now we can go down the ladder. Fyron says, gesturing towards the side of the ship.
Najka leans over and picks up the great axe, which you see as you get a closer look at it, has like metal braces along the haft, and like the bottom end of it is curved and has what looks like a guard for like a trigger, like a crossbow trigger on it, and some like weird like metal adjustments on the back end of it, and like the top end of the haft like ends in like two metal barrels that are separated from the main body of the axe blade.
You recognize a gun, because Carvala has has two pistols.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are new.
Pointing to basically all of the weapons except her granddad.
Ancestral hammer.
There's a few more than that. She starts to haul ass down the rope.
Yeah. So presumably the three of you head towards the temple.
I think they.
I feel like as much as like she might not be jumping down on the dock and making her way, I feel like with the pace at which she's running, she might crack a board or two.
Oh yeah. As the three of you head off towards the table, the camera lingers a little bit on the ship. As the various sailors begin to unload their cargo, stepping up from the hold beneath, a large figure steps onto the deck. Jack, would you like to describe what steps out on the deck?
You're not coming in on the mic.
You're muted.
You might be hardware muted.
It's human shaped with arms and legs and hands, and but made of a blackened metal that glows blue from inside, like a mechanical person that unfolds out of the cargo bay, looks around, and starts heading up the dock.
So just walks past the sailors, several of whom do a double take. Climbs down from the climbs down to the dock and heads inland. You can see in Critter Crew the Aormaton. Grouper and Fyron and Najka arrive at the Church of the Dawnfather. Grouper can lead the other two directly into where Davina is resting and recovering. And Najka, you see Davina passed out, being kept warm with blankets and the like, but covered head to toe, scars, hair shorn, body emaciated.
As Najka sort of like runs over, like sets gear down as she passes and like leans over the bed that Davina's laying on. She sort of like looks over everything and looks back over her shoulder. Byron, do these look like torture scars to you?
Fyron will come over and take a look. The 19? Not entirely, no. He pointed a few. This is surgical. This has been stitched back together, and he just didn't heal properly. This is surgical. This is surgical, and he'll just go through and he just identify. He's taking a moment to sort of like look through the scars. About half of them are surgical, and the other half seem to be either punitive or torturous. One of the two. He's not able to discern between those two. But he does. He takes a look, just as many as he's allowed to see, anyways. And no, it looks like roughly half surgical and half just for fun, whatever sick definition of fun was being operated under.
These don't look like any surgery that cared about the welfare of the recipient.
No, not at all.
Who would do this to someone?
Unfortunately,
There's a lot of sick bastards out there.
Unfortunately, Grouper, that list is not so short as to be easy. He will turn the head and look behind the ear, and there's a brand too. 13. So at least 12 other
Experiment
people.
number.
Or livestock, depending. Gripper, do you know where Nanika told me that you were keeping in touch with her. Do you know where she was when you lost contact?
It was the Irkulin coast?
Lucidian.
Lucidian coast. The Lucidian coast. And I'll give as much information as I can.
That's a lot of ground to cover. Presumably somewhere near the water, because she apparently tried to swim. Not enough to go on.
She's Selkie-kin. How'd she... I mean, it's still a long swim, but I would have expected she'd have an easier time of it.
Even if you're a natural born swimmer, trying to swim across the city and ocean is one hell of a feat.
Fair.
Rupert tries to look casual.
I know. You'd have to be something that lives, honest to God, lives under the water full time to make that journey, and even then it'd be a long one.
She would have had to be pretty desperate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this happened? Do you think this happened before she got in the water, or did something in the water do this? Is there any way I can do that with medicine?
If it definitely before she got in the water. If this had happened after she got in the water, she wouldn't be here.
Gangrene would have set in.
Salt in the wounds, nah, not a pretty sight. It's at this point that you hear from outside.
Turn and look.
Jack, does the automaton just come in?
Not right away. It walks past the first time to just do a lap of the place.
Something big and automated moving past the church.
I think Kruger's on high enough alert. Looks over. Did you all hear that?
Hard to miss.
I'm gonna go see. Everybody in who's pretty distracted. Flop, come on.
Nashka sort of like walks towards the door, leaving the axe behind, but sort of like reaches under her coat as if reaching for something that's hidden under her coat, and sort of like walks to the door.
If it was something that meant any harm, wouldn't have gotten this far into the town, or at least we'd have heard.
There's things in the wilds out here that you wouldn't believe.
I'm certain, but we're in town. Byron says, not really understanding what you're talking about. It's like, what do you mean? This town has guards, right? It's full of retired adventurers. Yeah, you go to the door. You open the door, look out. If you're out there long enough, you'll see, coming back around the other way, having made a lap, this taller than Najka, broad, dark metal, light blue energy Aormaton in better condition than you've ever seen one, Shani. Or Najka, but yeah.
Aren't you a hell of a thing, she says from the door.
Do any parts of it look familiar?
Make me a history check. Both you can.
I recognize an arm.
No, it's an 8.
No.
It walks right up to the door and looks down at you.
Can I help you?
Something in it starts creaking is the wrong word. It's the only one I'm coming up with.
Clang.
Yeah, as the chest of this thing starts to expand and you realize it's opening. And from inside, you hear a familiar voice say, I never thought I'd be looking up at you, looking down at you.
What? Which one is that?
Gatsby.
So yeah, the chest piece of this Aormaton just sort of you're and then it just slides open, almost like gull-wing door style. And looking out from the inside, you see 3 goblins.
Pease looks like he's tried to change as little as possible. Both in the way he dresses and the way he looks and the way he's cut his hair. Just the same. I'm going to be the same. Gatsby has discovered fashion, uh, and likes colors. Um, uh, Her outfit's mostly black, but then she's got some really bold colors as the accent. And Meanie Manny, he's grown up. He's got his clothes are in much better repair now, but he's still Meanie Manny. He very much looks like Meanie Manny still.
And as they open up, you then hear a barking sound as a large, sort of like yellowish brown dog just trots up behind the Aomaton, having finally caught up from getting off the ship.
Holy shit, the good goblins.
Uh,
Are you
Flop.
three good goblins in a robot coat?
Gesby laughs. Meet our alter ego, Martin Victoria.
A pleasure
Rupert
to
is
a pleasure to meet
actively
you.
trying to climb up the suit to see them.
The suit
Well,
vocalizes.
Damn. Well, damn, I see you lot have been busy exploring, I'm going to assume, pre-calamity ruins.
We've been to a lot of places. Oh. Pease leans out and just knocks on your knee again. He looks like he's been looking forward to seeing you.
Najka just offers like a wide grin that is only after a couple of seconds tempered by the realization that there's still an unconscious Davina inside, and she's like, right, you three better come on in. And she'll step aside from the door.
Oh, they're gonna close it back up and park the Aormaton somewhere nice before they're hopping out.
We found Davina. It's not good.
What does that mean?
Come on, you should see her. She was picked up by a ship. She was trying to swim, I think. Come on. She's safe. She's safe now, but
Jack, by the way, did you ever think of a name for the Mastiff?
Oh God, no. Worm.
Dog meat.
Actually. Worm.
Worm?
A dog named Worm.
All right, Worm.
Worm walks almost on top of Peas.
Spelled WORM or WYRM?
WURM. Either one. Just a worm.
Yep.
Flop is like posturing defensively, very confused because large mastiff, but also old friends.
I had leather armor barding, you said, Jack?
Yeah. Oh, the dog is almost as tall as Peas is.
I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I just, in a brief panic, Googled how long do seals live? We're okay.
How long do seals live?
It's flop too.
Yeah, harbor seals, which is what flop is, live 25 to 30 years in the wild.
Okay, yeah, that tracks.
I just looked up how long do seals live? How long do seals live? With concern. All right.
Yeah, we bring the good goblins over to Davina where she's being rested.
Yep. And you also now see Davina in her state.
What happened to her?
Hard to say considering she was found like this, but working theory at the moment, probably some kind of prisoner and experiment.
Has
I'll
she
share.
woken at all?
No, at least according to Grouper.
And I'll share everything that the crew of the ship told me.
Yep, they found her about a day out. They found her, about a day out, floating in the water, unconscious, and then just took her with them because too late to turn around.
Does she have any pockets?
No, it's bandages and robes.
Um,
Oh, I'm
he's
sorry, she says as she realizes that there is an extra person in this room that has not been introduced to the good goblins. Sorry, this is Fyron Altorian, my significant other.
Firen will kneel down to introduce himself to the goblins. Hello there,
Oh,
Night Vigilant of the Dawn Father. Pleasure to meet you.
uh, Meaty Manny will nod to him and introduce himself, and Gatsby will full on curtsy and offer a handshake.
I'll shake
And
the
Pease
hand.
will ignore him.
No.
Pease is running a hand along Davina just to check and make sure nothing is tucked away anywhere.
No, nothing tucked away. You do feel though all the scars.
Notchka is didn't say anything about significant other previously, right?
No, this is the first time that she's mentioned it.
Grouper sort of turns up, looks over at Notchka, looks at Fierin,
Byron.
Firen.
Fyron, looks over at Fyron, looks back at Notchka, and just kind of goes, like little thumbs up.
All right.
They haven't like officially been married, but like their relationship is accelerated significantly beyond just boyfriend and girlfriend. So significant other seems like the most appropriate title.
Grouper, you hear another bell going off at the port. Sounds like another ship or two are coming in.
um, I'll go get everybody. Um, you all, yeah. And just turns and leaves and starts padding back towards the harbor.
After Pease has a look at Davina, he's going downstairs. But Gatsby and Meaty Manny will stay.
Well, this is all like on the ground level of the church. So.
Well, Pease is leaving the room.
Okay. Are you going after Grouper to the docks?
No, just leaving the room.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Grouper, you hit down the docks. You see two more ships coming in. They both seem like based on the angle, just how they're sort of like tracking towards the island. Seems like they were both coming from different ports on the Lucidian coast. And at the Jeremy, where on the ship would Elafira be waiting to get to port? Would she be on the dock, on the deck, or below?
Ella would be, I think she is below in her cabin.
Okay.
He would be like looking in a mirror and being like, it's okay. You can do it. It's just reunion for Melora's sake. It's gonna be fine. They're your friends. They aren't gonna be fine. And just sort of talking herself up before she won't get up on deck until the ship docks.
Your ship is going to dock first, so you do
Okay.
you hear the all clear bell go off as the ship is tied up, which you know is your sign that now's the time.
Yep. And she will come up and take a breath, come up on deck, put on a big smile, and go to disembark.
And the first person you see on the docks is Grouper.
And Grouper sort of looks up, sees Elefina.
How does
And
Elefira look after 5 years, Jeremy?
Ella is comparatively to some fairly similar. She definitely looks grown up. Like she's lost the what was left of like the teenager baby fat. Her she's dressed in like a red and purple like corset top with like a cloak on. Her hair is now in that like in same coloring in the much more sophisticated style asymmetrical bob. And just I mean Looks largely like just a more adult cosmopolitanized version of herself. Yeah, she steps off the boat onto, and it's just Grouper.
Yeah,
Right.
there are other dock hands like just helping to
Right.
help unload. But yeah, Grouper is the person that you both of you
All
just
right.
like lock eyes as soon as you're up on deck.
Yep. Hey,
Elefira?
hi. Um, everybody here yet, or
Davina's hurt really badly. She's at the temple. Some of the others are back. Tenebris is missing.
well, shit.
And he just sort of turns and he looks at the other ship and addresses the rest of this to the ship and not to her.
Yep.
I'm gonna wait and see. Maybe he's there, but I know she'd want to hear your voice. If she can hear, you should go. Oh, the good goblins are in a big robot thing now. You should know.
Okay. Um. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and he's still looking at the other ship.
Yeah.
It's funny how when you don't write, you don't hear things.
I've been very busy.
Haven't we all?
Apparently,
You should go.
I okay. As we want. And yeah, she turns and she heads up.
Dragon, where on the ship that's coming in right after that, what would Tenebris be?
Bouncing around on the deck and up the mast and that, trying like double checking stuff and making repairs.
Yep. So yeah, Grouper, as the second ship comes in after Elefir has already headed up towards the temple, you see a familiar bouncing mouse, just running up and down. How does Tenebris look now?
Tenebris doesn't look that different. He's gotten a couple of piercings. His instead of like medium length hair, he now has like a long braid down his back. And instead of a proper shirt, he's wearing wraps of cloth that right now are probably soaked in seawater in the warm summer afternoon.
So Grouper is sort of turned away. His shoulders have slumped a little bit. He's kind of looking off, not at the ship, but away from the conversation he was having. And then as soon as his focus comes back in and sees this little mote of energy on the ship, he just sort of stands there, giant mouth drops open, and then in Aquan he goes, "What the fuck?"
It's like Tenebris, like on the deck, stop. Like you see it bounce below the railing, and then bounce up, looking at towards the dock.
Yeah, and you see Grouper as the ship's coming in.
And yeets off the deck.
Son of a bitch! And Grouper dives in and starts swimming out.
Yeah, you meet Tenebris halfway as Tenebris just starts swimming.
Notably, Tenebris is much faster at swimming than
Yes,
when
Tenebris
he
is a much faster swimmer than he was a few years ago.
Tenebris does not speak Aquan though, right?
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Tenebris speaks
speaks
Primordial.
Oh, he does. Okay.
All right, so they meet partway, and Grouper is like, Tenebris, you old so-and-so, we thought you died. Are you all right?
Tenebris looks like he's about to say something, and then doesn't, and then swims back for the surface.
All right, fair. Grouper follows him up, breaks the surface. Seriously, we thought you died. I'm so glad to see you. Are you okay?
Like he gives a slight a wet cough, but it's like, yeah, got shipwrecked and got stuck on an island for a while.
Did you stay to fix the ship? Be honest.
There
wasn't-
weren't enough pieces to repair the ship.
Yeah, there wasn't enough ship left to fix.
I'm really glad you're okay.
You move.
And he will reach out, sort of. Grouper, at least, is easily swimming just with his legs, like with his big paddle feet. And he reaches out, and if Tenebris doesn't seem in like distress, it sounds like he's swimming pretty well. We'll reach out and put a hand on his shoulder.
Tenebris
Instead.
returns the gesture.
It's really good to see you. I've been working on my flute.
People can't hear it. Sirens came. Flutes just came in.
Yeah.
Um.
Oh, they can hear it.
Everybody's back, but something happened to Davina. Did you see her, or have you heard anything about her?
I've been on an island for like the last year. I haven't heard anything yet.
Did you just get picked up?
I
Like,
believe that's the implication.
yeah, like a month and a half ago, basically, you got back to land.
Oh wow,
Like,
mother.
basically been on this ship.
Well, are you recovered enough to swim in the rest of the way, or you need to do? Do we need to do guppy back like we used to do?
No, I should be good.
Okay. Come on, let's come in. You should see everybody. There's I like the piercings.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah. Welcome home.
It's good to be back.
It's good to have you back. Come on. I'll go show you the others. We should all be together.
So, Najka and the good goblins, Elefira walks in to the church. Elefira, you
Ella walks, I think, up to the church
Okay.
and pauses for a second.
There we go.
This is there.
She just got hit with like a lot of information very quickly.
Yeah, you see peas outside.
He looks up at you. There's a dog standing next to him.
Hey,
Waves.
shit, I had everything planned and now everything's all fucking awkward.
He pats the ground next to him.
I will be right out. I'll be right out.
She doesn't-
And then turns and heads in.
Sorry, what did P say?
Yeah.
She doesn't look good.
Okay.
That seems to be all he has to say.
All right, you head in.
Yep. And then turns and heads in.
You are cannonballed by Flop as you step in, who is not awkward and is just super happy to see you.
Oh, good. Somebody who's normal.
Ah, who's this?
Yep.
Says
Me,
an unfamiliar
hugs.
voice. And looking over, you see Najka and the other
yeah.
two good goblins, and Father Martin and Davina laying down on a pallet covered in blankets, and a person with red hair and armor whom you've never met before.
It sort of puts Flop on the hip, like in the natural, like hold position.
Yeah.
Hey,
Notchka looks over to Fire, and that'd be Elefira.
Ah, Pleasure to meet you. He says, just holding up a hand. Farron Altarian, Knight Vigilant of the Dawnfather.
It's nice to meet you too. Hey guys.
He keeps dropping the significant detail that he is my significant other.
I figured I'd let you do that part.
I mean, I did the math.
Do the Gubbins know about the breakup?
Certainly not from Grouper.
So no.
I think so. Ella, in terms of like contact with other people, I think there was probably like 1 or 2 letters to Davina, and then those stopped very quickly, and nobody else. And I don't know, maybe there's been some interactions, because like some brief seeing each other, because there's been some of us I think are operating in the same area potentially, but not she hasn't been in contact with anyone.
Yeah, same area, but not at times where it overlaps. So
okay,
yeah.
So yeah.
Did Grouper tell Davina about the breakup?
Nope.
She would have asked about Ella though, every time she sees him and writes.
You would have gotten stuff back like she seems to be doing well, enjoying herself, things like that.
Yeah.
So apparently not.
Yeah, no. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
I think just Caravalla. So if Caravalla would have told, but even specifically, Grouper didn't tell Caravalla until literally everybody else was gone.
Caravalla knows it's not her business, and also she's got more important things to do than tell other people about your romantic problems.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, there was a crumpled note that ended up washing up on shore. The people who are still here might have potentially found.
It was eaten by crabs.
Fair enough.
Just like Grouper's heart.
Because crabs will eat anything.
Nashka has gone from like 6 foot even to 6'8".
Right.
And has gone from 250 to 340 as far as size goes.
Right.
Got it. Hitting that orc second puberty.
But yeah, you all gather together after a few minutes of either awkward silence or awkward conversation, if there's more you want to say.
I don't think from Ella, no. Ella just falls into... It looks like she is making herself quiet so she doesn't try to speak to fill the silence, because that's when you say dumb things.
The big goblin said hi, but
yeah,
Davina is the center of attention right now.
Yeah.
After a few minutes, Grouper and Tenebris walk up. Peas is outside with Worm.
Yeah. Peas watches you approach.
So Tenebris and Grouper, you get up to church. Do you say anything to Peas?
Any change?
Shakes his head.
You okay?
He seems to consider the situation, and then shrugs and pets his dog.
Rupert smiles a little bit. Does Peas like physical expressions of affection, like pats on the shoulder, hugs, things like that?
Not really.
Okay. And walk past. How does, other than the actual response, how does Peas seem like he's doing?
He seems to be waiting out here, so he doesn't have to wait in there. He seems to be avoiding the goings on right now.
Like your dog.
It's Worm.
Hey, Worm.
The dog looks at you and wags its tail.
Quick, meta setup question for Sen. Because I built my forge plate, could I have sold the chainmail that I started with as a class for half the price?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything from Tenebris, or do the two of you head inside?
Tenebris would have waved at Peas when he walked up, and then stands beside the dog. Is like, Peas. He's almost as big as I am.
Me too.
Just a big old mastiff. Or
He
village
looks
dog.
like a village dog.
Yeah.
Do we have any of those here?
No, not on the island.
Ripper's sort of eyeing the dog with interest and says, do you guys need anything? I think we're gonna go inside, but I can come back out.
We're okay.
I got something kind of neat I can show you in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I think the dog is taller than I am.
Okay.
A mastiff, on average, at the withers can be 30 to 33 inches.
Uh,
So it's
this
sitting up
one's-
with its head.
This one's like 2 feet.
Okay, so it's not
not a
a
mastiff,
full
it's a
size.
village.
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. Mastiff
Oh, okay.
mechanically, it's a village dog, which is a
Okay.
unidentified breed of dog, basically.
It's the dog breed of dog.
Yeah,
Okay, I had heard mastiff earlier, so I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
That's what it
How
is in the
tall-
player's handbook, but this is a village dog.
But yeah, because it was said mastiff earlier, I looked up what a mastiff's height is, and it's like, I stand 2 inches taller than the dog's shoulder. But nope, it's not a mastiff, it's fine. I'm not dwarfed by a dog.
All right.
We'll head back inside then, I think.
Till we get head inside. Davina.
Once group comes,
Oh, well, go
once
ahead.
grouper comes in, Ella just sort of will shift a little bit away and not like jump away, but just to make room and quietly hands over Bob.
Grouper kind of reach. I mean, Flop's big. Flop's
Right.
steel size, but yeah, it is. I think still very probably overwhelmed to see all these old people, all these old smells back, and just kind of making the rounds, flopping around on her belly from person to person. Grouper will sort of idly scratch, but walks back over to Davina and just kind of sits down nearby.
Davina.
Anything there?
The last thing you remember was swimming. In your mind right now, where you're sort of stuck, there was pain, there was danger, there was someone who came in and broke your chains and told you to run.
Mhm.
There were a dozen other people running with you. Maybe more. You got out into a swamp and kept running. And just kept going for the smell of salt water. Found a cliff and dove into the ocean. You remember burning in your shoulders and back as you swam beyond the point of exhaustion. And now you find yourself floating in this odd almost starscape as far as your perception can tell you. There is just this nebula of colors all around you and points of light scattered throughout. You're not certain how you got here or when your consciousness faded from the waking. You know you're asleep. You have that innate sense because of the abilities you've developed. And you push on the corner of your mind, the spot where you would where you would push to wake yourself up, and it's not doing anything. You can't wake up. But you are free floating amongst this astral nebula. And you feel there is something anchoring you in place. If you look down, you see this silver thread wrapped around your neck and shoulders and chest, following down out of sight below you. What do you
And she.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, what are you feeling right now?
Confusion, mainly. Calm after a great deal of pain.
What do you want to try to do?
You said it's like going down
Yeah.
beyond her feet.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to try to follow it.
What sonic disciplines do you have?
Hold on. I've got adaptive body, sight, and telepathic contact.
Okay. Make me intelligence roll with proficiency. So like spellcasting ability modifier, basically.
With proficiency?
Yeah. So just like if you have a spell casting check you can do or something like that.
Mm.
Or just roll your intelligence add 2.
Right.
So 14. You can feel as you're trying to you try to move and something's holding you in stasis, but you can feel the presence of minds around you. And you think that if you were to shift your focus a little bit, at least temporarily, you might be able to hear what those voices are saying.
Okay. She will try that.
So you shift your psychic focus from adaptive body to telepathic communication. So, and adjust that on your sheet, however you're keeping track of that. You need to make sure you're keeping track of what your psychic focus is on.
Okay.
Because they all do different things.
Figure out, is there a place I can put that?
In like other features on your bio page or something, was where I would put it.
Okay.
You shift your focus. To that. Come on. Work. There we go. And all of a sudden, what are the service level thoughts of, we're just going to go in order, Najka? Right, just right now.
Primarily concern for Davina. Like, just like looking over everything, trying to puzzle out where this would have happened, what would have caused it, trying to
coalesce it in a sentence.
I don't think she's got a sentence. I think she's just got a jumble of thoughts.
Okay. Jack, Gatsby.
What's going on with Grouper and Elefira?
Meanie Manny.
Frustration that he can't do anything.
Elefira.
It's one sentence, but it's one run-on sentence. It's gonna be like, God, what happened? What happened to everybody? What Grouper seems to be acting okay. This is fine. Um, does nobody else seems to be acting like anything's different? What's going on?
Okay. Grouper.
Grouper is Grouper's sort of a thought pattern similar to prayer, not something to which Grouper is particularly accustomed, but it is just sort of going. If
This
there's
is
a
in your
way,
this is in your mind. It can be whatever voice you want it to be.
yeah, okay, so yeah, so then it would be sort of in the awkward, and Grouper's just saying, if there's a way it could be me and not her, please let me figure it out. If you can take whatever you need from me and let her be okay, just let her wake up.
And Tenebris.
The first thought is just resisting the urge to cough up water.
And behind Tenebris's thought, there's something deeper. Something menacing. That seems distinctly different from Tenebris. But it's a familiar level of menace. Enough that instantly your nerves are set into fight or flight. And this coalescence of thoughts and hopes and fears and concerns just sort of manifest in this astral space. And you feel that silver thread glow and tug and pull, and you're falling. Faster and faster and faster and faster. You see the stars speed past, the nebula disappears. Below you, a massive sphere of white and blue and brown, getting closer and closer and closer. Through the sky, through the clouds. A body of water spread out below you. An island. First a speck, then larger, a familiar island. A church. Through the roof, into your body. And those of you that are standing around, Davina just suddenly begins to gasp loudly, breathe heavily, and sit up, eyes open.
Don't move so fast.
We're right there on the bed.
Yeah.
Davina,
Grouper's on the other side.
everything is loud in your brain and is overwhelming. What are you doing right now?
First, she takes just a brief second, tries to take in her surroundings. Does she know where she is right now?
You're in the Church of the Dawn Father. There are some strangers here, but there's also your friends here.
Her eyes dart from person to person.
You're okay. You're okay. Hey.
Shut up. And she will jump from there and try to run out the door.
You do know that you can shift your focus to turn it off.
She will turn it off. She's still running out the door.
So yeah, you shift your focus away from telepathic thoughts, and as you run towards the door opens, and Pease is there.
Sitting on the ground, looking up at you as if he was waiting for you.
And there is a happy yellow dog.
Pease pats the ground to invite you to sit.
She will stop when she sees Pease. And take a deep breath and sit down next to Pease.
Pease tugs gently at the dog, and it walks around and licks your face.
A rumble of thunder in the distance.
She will scooch away from the dog.
Can Flop come up from inside?
Mm-hmm.
And Flop just sort of, that sort of stomach forward motion, flop up to Davina, looking worried. You know, like a pet does when they know something's wrong but they don't understand why. And we'll try to put a head in Davina's lap, like
She'll push away.
He started looking surprised and concerned the minute you dislike contact from an animal, period. He will keep his hands to himself and just sit there quietly, waiting for you to say something if you're going to.
She is just, her eyes and head are just darting around everywhere as she's taking everything in at once.
You shifted your focus, so you're not getting their thoughts anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What have you shifted your focus to?
Mm-hmm. You mean which discipline?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to them. RSI.
Okay. Make a insight check with advantage.
Okay.
With an
Whoa.
20.
Okay.
The colors that you are seeing surrounding everyone is concern and care and a little bit of anxiety and a little bit of fear, but nothing, no hostility. No one around you means you harm. You are safe as far as your senses are able to tell you. And as a second rumble of thunder peals out in the distance and rain begins to very lightly fall, that's where we're going to end for the week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.